This is the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session, a weekly recap of your 2023 Phillies. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Team Toyota, BCWSA, Fogo de Show, Independence Blue Cross, and Capital Grill. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chickies and Pete's. Welcome to the Independence Blue Cross
This is the Independence
Bull
Blue Cross Bull Session, a weekly recap.
1490 AM and 107.3 FM. Right now, we are broadcasting live on live stream. We're taping the show in the afternoon because the Phillies are home tonight at 6:40 with the Miami Marlins. And I want to introduce our co-host, and we have a special guest and a current player you'll be happy to know. Of course, this is called the Bull Session in honor of Greg Luzinski, one of the greatest sluggers in Phillies history. And Greg has stepped away this year after doing a great job all those years. And we, this year, are blessed to have a couple of popular members of the 1993 National League champions who will be co-hosting with me on most of the shows. And with me today, you know, somebody told me, Mickey, that I've introduced something like 75,000 different players over 51 years.
That's it?
And of all of that, well, 75,000 different.
Different ones.
300,000 total.
Wow.
Of all of those names, and believe me, I love doing them all, but there's a few that seem to ring more melodically than the others. And maybe none more so, ladies and gentlemen, than former Phillies National League All-Star second baseman, number 12, Mickey Morandini.
Doesn't get old. That does not get old.
No. Our special guest, I'm going to ask him to tell you a few things about himself too, but we are honored to have with us somebody who contributed mightily to the National League pennant a year ago in 2022, and who received one of the nicest rounds of applause in yesterday's ring ceremony. Now, before I tell you his name, well, you're watching, you can see who it is, but I usually try to build up towards the name. So this guy, I'm just going to go, the beautiful media guy that Kevin Gregg, we have baseball royalty here today. You know, his dad was a major league umpire, National League umpire for 23 years, and Kevin arranged for Darick to join us today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Kevin in a minute. I'm so excited. And but our special guest today was the recipient last year of the Paul Owens Award, presented annually to the Phillies organization's top minor league player. He became, now wait to hear this. This is something really special. He became just the third Phillies player since 1900 to bat cleanup in his major league debut. Batting cleanup in his major league debut. Became the second Phillies player in the modern era whose first 3 career hits were home runs. Ed Sinicki in 1949 also accomplished that feat. He became the first Phillies player with at least 13 extra base hits in his first 25 career games since Rhys Hoskins in 2017. And this guy can mash, ladies and gentlemen. It was drafted in 2016. He hit 27 home runs with Lakewood in 2017, 20 home runs with Reading in 2019. Last year, he had 28 home runs for Lehigh Valley and 9 with the Phillies. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Phillies first baseman, number 24, Darick Hall. Darick, thank you for joining us today. Unfortunately, he is injured. We're really missing him. But Darick, before we get into your injury, I wonder if you could share with Mickey and me and our live audience at Chickies and Pete's and those watching live stream and will be listening on the radio tonight. Would you tell us in your own words, your career highlights and what accomplishments you're most proud of?
Yeah, so one thing I think in the minor leagues I was really proud of was I actually was the Sally League MVP in 2017, and that was after an injury. So the last time I actually got hurt and was on the IL was in 2017. I had a high ankle sprain and missed a month, and then came back and really put something together, and that's when I think I kind of made a name for myself, was that year. And after that was when I pretty much played every day for the rest of the time in the minor leagues. And something I'm really proud of as a player was my worst year was in 21, but I would say that's the year I learned the most, right? I actually hit about 130 for 2 months in 21. It was awful. But it was one of those moments, like reckoning as a player, where I was like, wow, I got to make some adjustments here, or else I'm not going to survive the year, right? And, from I would say from June to the rest of the year, I hit about 300, but it was because of the adjustments I made with our hitting coach at the time, Gary Ingram, and I built off of what I learned that year in the off season and really applied myself. And then in 22, I just put it together and then had my best year since Lakewood, and then got the call. And one thing I think with me is it took me a while to get to the big leagues, but I learned something along the way that when I got to the big leagues allowed for my performance to be there in 22 and be able to help the team when it was time. And that's should be everybody's goal in the minor leagues, right? It's use the minor leagues to learn your lessons, but by the time you get to the big leagues, you should be able to perform and be able to help the team. And that's something that I definitely am proud of. And the people that have poured into me through the minor leagues and the Phillies staff and coaches really did a good job with me. And, they let me develop. I'm definitely marinated in the minor leagues, but I think if I didn't do that or if they pushed me too hard, I don't think I would have been able to help the team get to that spot that it did in 22.
Mickey, a question for Darick?
I agree with what he's saying. I go out and talk to a lot of kids and athletes, and I always tell them how you deal with failure is going to determine how your career is going to go. And a lot of really good athletes, they don't fail in Little League or Senior League or high school or even college. They're very successful because they're the best athletes there. And they really don't fail until they're either in the minor leagues, or some players don't really fail until they're in the big leagues. And that's the biggest thing, is how are you going to deal with failure once it happens to you? And a lot of players can't deal with that failure, and their careers end right there. And then there's other players like Darick. He said he struggled a little bit in the minor leagues, and he learned the most from his failures, and that's really what it takes to be a really good athlete, not only in baseball but all sports. So, and I really didn't fail until I got to the big leagues. I had a great minor leagues, and then my first year in the big leagues was awful. I was really struggling, and finally, as Darick did, I had to make some adjustments, and then finally I took off. But I can understand where he's coming from there.
Darick, tell us about the great postseason run that the Phillies had in 2022 that you were such a big part of.
Yeah, what was really cool about the timing of when I got called up was, I think we were about I'd say at the time about a 500 club, right, in wins and losses. And the streak that we went on, it wasn't just random. It was like the unit meshed together, the pitchers meshed. Like I'm talking, that was the Phillies firing on all cylinders. right? And it happened, I'd say, about a week and a half after being there. Like, you just witnessed it. Like, it was like we came together, and we were playing the game right at the plate. We were playing good defensively, and we really I thought the pitchers were really polished, right? And that just built. And what we all witnessed in the playoffs and what we did as a team was we were having so much fun. We were enjoying it. We weren't stressing ourselves out. We were playing loose, but we were playing good ball. And, I mean, that's about the perfect recipe for a long playoff run, in my opinion, right? Any team I've ever been on that's gone deep into the playoffs has that, where, you know, one bad thing happens, it doesn't crush the momentum. It's like, hey, we put it aside. You know, we have, you know, everybody's backs, right? And that's exactly what happened in the playoffs. If something bad happened, we just flushed it and made up for it, or moved a runner, or hit a sac fly, right? I mean, we definitely hit some home runs, but like the small parts of the game were on in the playoffs, and that's why we won a lot of games.
Darick and Mickey, something that meant a lot to me, and I think meant a lot to all Phillies fans. It was so heartwarming. In the Philadelphia Inquirer and Philadelphia Daily News, and maybe Kevin Gregg can remind me who the sports writer was, but the story of how Rhys Hoskins took you under his wing and brought you along, and did you locker next to each other? Did I read that at one point?
Yeah, so I would say last year, right? So I'm a guy, I learned by watching, right? And so Rhys was right next to me. So I wouldn't say every day, but pretty often I'd ask him questions about stuff, just how things are. Because, you know, the big league environment's a little different than the minor leagues, right? And there is a way to be a big leaguer, not just on the field, but in the clubhouse. And there's no better person to watch than Rhys, in my opinion, right? He leads by example. He works hard. You know, he can be vocal at the right times, right? But it's not overly vocal to where you're tired of hearing it, you know? So it's like, you know, when he chimes in, it means something, right? And that's what a great leader in the clubhouse does, right? And we have multiple, I would say, like Schwarber, Harper, Rhys, Castellanos, right? We have some great leaders in that clubhouse that thrive at different times, you know, where the team's in different spots. And, you know, like just for me, I really focused in on Rhys just because I remember even when I was in the minor leagues and I was maybe my first or second year, he was coming over to the other side and was, you know, hitting, and I would watch his at-bats, and I'd talk to him about his at-bats, and like, you know, I'm like, man, how do you spit on these nasty pitches, and how are you so disciplined and this and that, you know? And he'd be like, well, it takes time, but you just got to be slow, you know, just give me good advice as a young, from a, you know, where he was to a young player. And that always meant a lot to me too, because some of those guys you just felt a little too intimidated to talk to, or, you know what I mean? But Rhys was always a guy, he was not afraid to pour into anybody if you ask.
I just want to remind our live audience here at Chickies and Pete's, as well as those of you who are watching live stream or who will be listening to the broadcast tonight on WBCB 1490 and 107.3 FM. This is the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. We're on every Monday throughout the season. We have been for like 16 years. We have current Phillies, Darick Hall today, former Phillies, front office executives, managers, coaches, broadcasters. I think you'll enjoy it if you've never listened to us. And if you're a longtime regular, like many here in the live audience at Chickies and Pete's, we're very grateful for your continued support. And our producer, Chris Ermer, tells us it's time for our first commercial break. So we still have 3/4 of the show to go. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back from Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia after this message.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com. At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools.
Trenton Thunder Baseball is back for its 30th year. Big League Futures, Major League Fun. Trenton Thunder tickets are now available. Single game tickets, group plans, suite nights. Get your tickets now. For more information, visit TrentonThunder.com. That's TrentonThunder.com or call 609-394-3300. That's 609-394-3300. Post-game fireworks nights, pork roll Fridays, and dog welcome nights throughout the season. Trenton Thunder Baseball, Big League Futures, Major League Fun. Trenton Thunder Baseball is back for its 30th year. Big League Futures.
During the Toyota Ready, Set, Go sales event, just imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Whatever you need, from an electric vehicle to a rugged, versatile truck, we have new Toyotas on the ground for immediate delivery. Or choose from over 100 certified used options, which undergo a rigorous inspection and include an amazing warranty. Plus service centers that can save you time and money and keep you on the road. So let's go to Team Toyota this spring. Just visit teamtoyota.net to find a location near you.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Hello, everybody. Dan Baker, Phillies PA announcer, Mickey Morandini, Darick Hall on the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. And we're broadcasting from the flagship Chickies and Pete's at 15th and Packer. We were just talking about the clubhouse leadership in the current Phillies clubhouse with Darick Hall. Mickey Morandini, you played with one of the best clubhouse leaders in Phillies history, Darren Daulton. Tell us about him. And besides Darren, were there other leaders of that night? Of course, they won the National League pennant in '93. Darick's Phillies won the National League pennant in 2022, just a year ago. So there's another thing you guys have in common. But the clubhouse leadership, Darren Daulton.
Yeah, I don't think we needed another one, to be honest with you. He was so good. He cared about winning. And I could tell he cared about winning because he could go 4 for 4 and we'd lose and he'd be miserable. And he'd go 0 for 4 and we'd win and he'd be the happiest guy in the locker room. So he was tremendous. If you didn't do something on the field that was proper or right, you didn't do the little things on the field, or you did something to the media that you shouldn't have done, he'd bring you back into the weight room, talk to you one-on-one, set you straight, and it was over. He wasn't one of those guys that had to yell at you in front of everybody to prove a point. He did it the right way. And I can remember one day I was a young player, and I was trying to get more playing time against left-handed hitters. I was playing against righties, but not lefties all the time. And I came up against a lefty. I started one day, and I bunted. And I got right into the dugout, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" He goes, "You need to prove that you can hit left-handed pitching. So you going up there and bunting off a left-hander is not proving that." So he not only cared about winning, but he cared about his players, and he was just tremendous. He was a tremendous person.
But that was a sad story, of course, with the glioblastoma or whatever it was that eventually claimed Darren's life at all too young of an age, but one of the most popular Phillies ever. Number 10 catcher, Darren Daulton. Hey, you know what? My friend Mark Weissner, who's been a fan of the Bull Session for 15 years at least, brought a Mickey Morandini picture, which Mickey has autographed.
Yeah.
How about this? And sometimes we ask questions and give the photos away that way, but with our program director, Matt Miro's permission, I'd like to give this to my friend Roger Hendler, who's come all the way up here from Georgia. Yesterday, not only was Easter Sunday, and by the way, happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan, to everyone celebrating holidays. And Roger, this is an 80th birthday present from one of the most popular Phillies of all time, second baseman Mickey Morandini. Come on, Roger, can you still stand? No, he's a great guy.
So you live in Georgia? You live in Georgia? Yeah. You're not a Braves fan, because I'm taking that photo back if you're a Braves fan. All right.
Yeah, no, he's not a Braves fan. He's Philadelphia through and through, awesome. Just like me. And so we're certainly glad to have you here. By the way, Chris Ermer, my goodness, our producer. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more, Darick and Mickey, if you can join me with this. Kevin Gregg over here. He's, the rich kids and the smart kids go to the Interact schools, Kevin went to Episcopal Academy, so, right there. He's got both, Mm-hmm. And he graduated from James Madison. He's had a couple of tours of duties with the Phillies. He was outstanding here before. We were sad to lose him. And he went up and did a great job with the Red Sox. And I think he worked with Dave Dombrowski there, and Dave brought him back. And what an asset to the organization he is. And, last year, or I don't know whether it's last year or this year, he won the Robert Fischel Award, which is like the top award that a PR executive in Major League Baseball can receive. Kevin Gregg. So, Kevin, congratulations. He does such a great job. This guy goes from morning till night. And with opening... Go ahead.
Can I tell a quick story about his dad?
Please.
So we're playing on a Sunday afternoon game. He's umpiring second base. And Lenny Dykstra. This is probably 94, 95. And Lenny was great, and he wanted to play every day, but this particular day, it was like 140 degrees on the turf. I mean, it was hot, and Lenny did not want to play. So he comes up in his first at-bat and hits a ball down the line, and he gets thrown out at second base. And Lenny, who did not want to play, starts arguing with Eric. He wants to get thrown out.
Yes.
And finally, Eric goes, Lenny, if I got to be out here all day, you're going to be out here all day. And he wouldn't throw him out, and Lenny had to stay in and play the whole game.
Oh, that's a great story. Of course,
oh, wow.
Darick, I don't know if you ever heard this one. Mickey, I'm sure you have. And again, I don't remember the exact game. It might have been a postseason game, but Mary Sue Stiles was a very attractive young lady, was our blonde girl on the left field foul line. And I think your dad, I think it was postseason, because I think he was, how they have an extra outfielder for the left field foul line? Or if not, it was third base. But anyway, there was a ball hit up into the lights. It was so hard to see. By the one of the visiting team batters. And I think Mary Sue Stiles is going foul. Of course, she's a Phillies fan. But it was so hard to see, and Kevin's father Eric called it foul also, and then they later they corrected it. It was a fair ball. I think it was a home run. They asked Eric why he made that call. He said, "Well, I never saw it, but if it was good enough for Mary Sue Stiles, it was good enough." Kevin, you remember that? Something like that. I might have butchered it a little bit. I apologize if I did. But anyway, it was pretty humorous. let's talk about opening. Well, first of all, Mickey, every week, folks, the naming sponsor is Independence Blue Cross. And each week we name an Independence Blue Cross Phillies Live Fearless Player of the Week, the best performer of the week. Mickey Morandini has chosen that Live Fearless, Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Mickey, whom have you chosen?
This guy has been unhittable. I mean, unhittable. He's faced 12 batters this year. He struck out 10 of them. And he struck out the last 10 batters he's faced. In the past week, he faced 9 batters and struck them all out. So Jose Alvarado is my player of the week. He's just, they can't put good swings on him right now. He's that locked in. His stuff's that good. It's pretty incredible.
So, Jose Alvarado, congratulations, number 46. And each week we will name an Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Phillies Player of the Week. Darick, I wanted to ask you, and Mickey too, to tell us about the Phillies crowds in the postseason last year and what you experienced with the opening weekend. Darick, could we start with you?
Yeah, so I had never had the opportunity to see a crowd actually make other teams play worse. I had never seen that in my life, but I really think when I noticed it at first was against the Braves. Because the Braves are kind of like, they roll in, they just, they relax, they play like loose baseball. Well, that wasn't happening when in the playoffs with the fans. They were sped up. You could tell, I remember when Spencer Strider was throwing, he didn't look like himself. He was 5 miles an hour down, right? It looked like twitchy and nervous, right? And it was the same, like their big hitters were swinging at balls in the dirt, and I'm like, most of them were trying to get too big, and I'm like, it has to be the environment that the fans created, right? I mean, it was so loud. I think I had ringing ears for a month after the playoffs. Right? It was incredible, and I believe our team harnessed that energy too, right? That became our arena, and the fans were, if we threw a strike, they would cheer, right? If we took a ball at the plate, they would cheer, and it was loud, and I mean, they created so much, the perfect environment for us to go as far as we did. I'd never seen the fact that a crowd can actually have that much influence on the game, and I thought that was the most unique and cool thing I've ever witnessed. And opening day, it was funny, when we started the season, it was like, New Year, felt really good. We were excited, but as soon as we got back to Philly and opening day happened, it felt like I was, back in October and November right away. Hearing the fans, it was the same kind of environment. I was like, wow. It's something, as a player, it is very, very cool to experience and to witness and to play in. And, we all love it. And, it's just the passion that the fans have for the Phillies is next to none. So.
Kevin, Greg, I got to tell you something. All these articulate players coming through the Phillies system, Mickey and Darick, future you got a future, young man. And as this guy does, he's already demonstrated on God. Mickey, you've been doing this show with us off and on for
4 or 5, 6 years maybe.
And my gosh, I heard you all over the dial last week in your current role as ambassador. Sounded terrific everywhere. And
thank you.
And you, my goodness, I haven't had a chance really to meet you or talk with you. I'm so impressed. I've heard everybody and a lot of your teammates talking on the air about what a good person and the positive vibes, and then reading that story in the paper, and you captured it verbally in discussing. It was just so warm of you to recognize what Reese was doing in his effort to try, and you could potentially steal his job. And yet he was helping you learn the ropes, which is what a good teammate and a good person does.
Yeah.
And you captured it, Darick, and told it in a way that everybody could understand. And you had to be pretty intelligent, but you had to be a good person, and I think very warm. And I think both of you guys have those qualities.
I got to ask you, you've DH'd a lot. You've played first a lot. Is there a preference for you?
You know what? So in the minor leagues, I didn't like DHing because you basically kind of just sit on the pine.
Right.
In the big leagues, it's better because you can go to the cage.
Right.
So to me, it keeps your mind busy. You don't just sit on the pine and wait 2 innings to hit. Right now, you can like have an at and go hit some more. So I definitely preferred. It was nicer in the big leagues than it was in the minor leagues. But I like playing first. I think it keeps you more in the game. I like being out there, enjoy playing first base. I played way more first base in the minor leagues than I did DH. The only time I really DH'd a lot was when I came off my injury in 17, when they ramped me back up to play first base every day. But I enjoy it out there. I like doing it. My favorite thing is I like taking care of the infielders. I love picking the ball. I love stretching and staying on that base. I think it makes a big difference when you're and getting those guys feeling really comfortable, because I want them to make the nasty plays and just know that they throw that thing over there and it's going to get caught. It's not going to get by me, and I take pride in that, and that's why I enjoy first base.
Well, us middle infielders appreciate when they pick the ball out of the dirt, believe me.
I hate to interrupt this terrific conversation between you two, but we have to take our second commercial break, so we're about halfway through today's show, the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session on WBCB, AM and FM, 1490 AM, 107.3 FM. We'll be right back with the second half of today's show.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
Trenton Thunder Baseball is back for its 30th year. Big League Futures, Major League Fun. Trenton Thunder tickets are now available. Single game tickets, group plans, suite nights. Get your tickets now. For more information, visit TrentonThunder.com. That's TrentonThunder.com, or call 609-394-3300. That's 609-394-3300. Post-game fireworks nights, pork roll Fridays, and dog welcome nights throughout the season. Trenton Thunder Baseball, Big League Futures, Major League Fun.
During the Toyota Ready, Set, Go sales event, just imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Whatever you need, from an electric vehicle to a rugged, versatile truck, we have new Toyotas on the ground for immediate delivery. Or choose from over 100 certified used options, which undergo a rigorous inspection and include an amazing warranty. Plus service centers that can save you time and money and keep you on the road. So let's go to Team Toyota this spring. Just visit teamtoyota.net to find a location near you.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session at Chickies and Pete's flagship 15th and Packer in the heart of beautiful South Philadelphia. I'm Dan Baker, joined by Mickey Morandini and Phillies first baseman Darick Hall. By this program note, before we resume our conversation with Mickey and Darick, now, Today we're Chickies and Pete's. We're going to be at Chickies and Pete's every week, but it's going to rotate. Now, when the Phillies are home on a Monday night, like they are tonight, don't forget Phillies play tonight, play the Marlins at 6:40. But next week we're going to be at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. That's Monday, April 17th. On Monday, April 24th, we're going to be at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. And I'm not going to give you the whole. It'll take the rest of the show. They give every date, but I'll just give you those couple. So those of you, and we usually have, a dozen or a couple dozen people that follow us to all the shows, and we appreciate. I just want to give you that kind of a heads up. And now let's get back to these distinguished guests. Darick, on our first show of the year, Mickey and me, was right here last Monday, and our guest was Charlie Manuel. Oh. And of course, the Phillies World Series
Charlie's
champion.
my guy.
Well, our producer Chris Irmer reminded me that Charlie mentioned last week how proud he was to work with you and how good you are and how even better, much better you can become, he feels. And so would you tell us about that working relationship and what he might have done to assist you?
Yeah, so me and Charlie kind of go, way back, I'd say. Like what was really cool about Charlie is him and Bo would come visit the affiliates.
Yes.
I think the first time I really sat down and had a conversation with him was in AA. And, when I was younger, I was a little more stiff, I'd say. And he'd always be like, loosen up that top hand, son. Mm-hmm. They'd like, throw it like an axe. And I'm like, well, maybe there's some truth to it. Because, if it's like I was rolling some balls over. But me and Charlie would just talk about where to hit the ball, right? How to stay loose and relaxed. And Charlie always knew, like, when I was right, when I wasn't, just based on kind of how my swing was flowing.
Yes.
And, the thing I like about Charlie is he keeps it really simple. He goes, hey, before 2 strikes, catch it out front. 2 strikes, catch it a little deeper, right? And for me, it's like I've always felt like I needed to have a stronger top hand because I'm actually right-handed, so I get a lot of bottom hand. So sometimes I'd overcompensate with my top hand. He taught me how to actually swing it looser, and you actually have better results. You hit better balls. And he's the only person that's really ever talked to me about that because it was my knowledge to think, okay, I'm not left-handed, so I need to compensate for it. Well, no, he taught me, swing it like an axe. And it's like, luckily, I did do a little bit of that when I was younger. And I know when you hold the axe, you slide it down, boom, it's more bottom hand, you have that little bit of throw. So I knew exactly what he was talking about, and that's how it helped me. It's like, being able to be a little bit looser and knowing where to catch the ball, but not being so tight up there. Just boom, let it swing.
His prized pupil is Jim Thome, Hall of Famer, and a man who had a great Major League career, Hall of Fame career, and of course starred for our Phillies and hit over 600 home runs. So, Mickey, was there somebody that helped you with your batting approach or style that you think played a part in the good offensive player that you turned out to be?
Yeah, so as I told you earlier, I was struggling early in my career. And I'm a guy that if I hit the ball in the air, it's getting caught. I'm not a power guy. I hit 32 big league home runs, so I'm not a power guy. So I was a guy that needed to hit line drives, especially on the turf at the vet. A lot of ground balls that are going to get through. But I was struggling. I was hitting a lot of fly balls. And finally, John Vukovic, we're in San Francisco, and he goes, meet me out in right field. This was old Candlestick Park. So we sit down and have a conversation. He goes, you want to stay in the big leagues? I said, yeah, I really do. And he goes, you better stop hitting the ball in the air. He goes, you have to start hitting line drives, ground balls. So Dennis Menke, who was our hitting coach, gave me, I used to swing a 33, 31-ounce bat, 33 length, 31 ounce. He gave me a 36, 35 U1 bat, which is this huge bat with a thick handle. And they wanted me to choke up about 6 inches on it and just swing down on the ball and slap. It had a big barrel, so I could get jammed a little bit and still hit the ball good. And I found a lot of success with that. After I figured out my swing, went back to my 33-inch, 31 bat, and I took off after that. So if John Vukovic doesn't send me out to right field, who knows? I might have got sent back down to AAA and never made it back up. So he was very influential in my swing.
Here's another question I want to ask you both. Mickey, starting with you. Now, you're talking about coaches. How about teammates that influenced your confidence, your batting ability, your fielding prowess? Was there a teammate that kind of took you under his wing and helped bring you along, as Rhys Hoskins is trying to do with Darick Hall?
Well, fielding-wise, it was Larry Boa. He taught me so much about the infield. But hitting-wise, I would say Lenny taught me a lot. Lenny didn't say a lot, but just by watching him hit, you learn a lot. I mean, he was very patient. He looked for certain pitches. He knew the strike zone really well. He didn't swing at bad pitches. So I think Lenny had a big influence on me. He usually hit in front of me, so I could stand there on deck and kind of watch how he went about things, and he was a big part of why I was so successful.
Darick, besides Rhys, is there somebody else that you feel has tried to?
Yeah, so one thing I think I was really good at in the minor leagues was hitting and hitters counts. But when it came to 2 strikes, I felt like I didn't have a 2-strike approach or didn't really know how to handle that count very well. And I remember when I got to Double-A and Bohm flew from low A to Double-A in a year. And I watched him over and over and over. And what's funny about him is he'd get to 2 strikes and he would foul off 4 fastballs in a row over the dugout, like opposite side. I'm like, well, why isn't he trying to get the head out, you know? Yeah. And what would happen is he'd foul off enough fastballs to aggravate the pitcher, and they'd throw him a curveball, and he'd hit a homer. And it didn't really dawn on me at first, right? And then the more I watch him, I'm like, here he goes again. Fouls 4 or 5 fastballs off, spits on a slider down, and they throw in the zone. He hits a double, right? And I'm like, all right. So I was like, you know, to me, when I foul a fastball off over the dugout, even with 2 strikes, I'm trying to move out. I'm going, oh, I need to be earlier. And then they would throw me this. Change up or slider, and I would swing in the dirt and be like, dang it, you know, he didn't throw a fastball. Well, fast forward to 21, actually, Stott gets to the AAA. He's having a great year. And then he does the same thing. I watch him, he fouls these so really the moral of the story was they know how to back the ball up to know, okay, if I can foul my fastball off here, they throw it enough, eventually I'm going to hit it. But it also lets the off speed come deeper to where now if it's in the zone, they hammer it, right? And if it breaks out of the zone early, they see it. And I learned from watching those two, and they were very similar in that aspect. And Stott's still really, you know, they both do it really well even now. But they're the ones who taught me, without even telling me, how to have a good 2-strike approach. And I mean, it still sticks with me. Like, I've had a lot of success just doing that off of what I've seen them do. It was really cool. I don't know if they know they're doing it, but that's what I came to the conclusion on. So,
well, you guys are good learners too. Darick and Mickey, want to ask you about the beginning of the 2023 Major League season. Now, we all love the Phillies, but to be honest, we're off to a little bit of a slow start. Are you at all concerned about that, Mickey?
No, because I think the reason we're off to a slow start are all fixable things. I think Rob Thompson said it best. We need to clean things up. The walks, walking too many guys, the base running blunders. We've had some base running blunders. And last year we were so good at base running. So we need to clean that up a little bit. And then we need to drive in some runs. Our hitting with runners in scoring position hasn't been real good. You clean those things up, and we're going to be fine. We do have our hands full the next 3 days. We're going to see some really good arms coming from the Marlins, but I still think we're going to be fine.
I want to ask Darick the same question, and you'll hear Darick Hall's answer in just a moment. But right now we have to take our last commercial break. Then we'll be back with the final segment of today's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Thank you.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
During the Toyota Ready, Set, Go sales event, just imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Whatever you need, from an electric vehicle to a rugged, versatile truck, we have new Toyotas on the ground for immediate delivery. Or choose from over 100 certified used options, which undergo a rigorous inspection and include an amazing warranty. Plus service centers that can save you time and money and keep you on the road. So let's go to Team Toyota this spring. Just visit teamtoyota.net to find a location near you.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chickies and Pete's at 15th and Packer. Dan Baker, Mickey Morandini, Darick Hall on the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. And to say thank you to Darick, WBCB provides our guests with a couple of gift certificates. So Darick, perhaps we hope you and Ashley will have a chance to enjoy a gift certificate to the Capitol Grill, to Fogo de Chão. I've never even taken my wife there yet. I got to do that. We've been to Capitol Grill a couple of times, and also to Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Ooh.
And I think that's a new one, and you have yours. But program director Matt Miro brought this one for Kevin Gregg because he was so kind to contact Darick on our behalf and bring you over here. So, Matt, would you please give this to Kevin and tell him how much we appreciate it?
Nothing for me? All right. Maybe Kevin will ask me to go to dinner with him. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I was in the midst of asking Mickey Morandini and Darick Hall about the Phillies' start, and as you know, we started 1-5. We took I don't know about you folks, but Easter weekend was perfect for me. Oh my gosh, opening day, the ring ceremony, up until the 9th inning of today's game. And I thought, oh gee, I thought we had it. But just like Mickey said before the break, this is a good baseball team.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, folks, get your tickets for the ball. 6:40 tonight, we host the Marlins, you know. They're going to get things straightened out. And, hey, look, we bounced back from last year. But let's get the perspective of one of the current Phillies, first baseman Darick Hall. So, Darick, how do you assess? Let's see. Right now we are 3-6. We're 3 games behind Atlanta. San Diego. How about San Diego, Mickey, against Atlanta? So, your assessment, Darick, of the first 9 games of the year.
Yeah. So there's an old saying my pop used to tell me about baseball. It's not the dog who pees first; it's the dog who pees the longest. So, I mean, any team I've been on, you know, it's not about how you start; it's how you finish. And last year's team is a perfect example of that. You know, we're gonna clean it up. And to me, any good team I've ever been on, and we're really good. It's just about feeling good and just rolling, right? Like, it only takes one magic week like last year to win, 10, 15 games in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. It's those streaks come, and I know when everybody gets comfortable and rolling, we're going to win a lot of baseball games. And I think that's what I've seen with from college all the way to the big leagues, right? It's just about being hot at the right time, right? You don't want to be hot early and then fizzle out late, right? I think, and with the talent we got in the clubhouse and on the field and the coaches, I think we're in a really good spot. And all we got to do is just get the formula right, and get the boys feeling right, and we will win a lot of games.
Mickey, would you like to embellish your feelings about this, the first 9 games of the season, and what's still to come?
Yeah, I think the big thing is Bryce is on his way back sooner than later. So when Bryce comes back, it's almost going to be like we just traded for a top 10 hitter in the National League, And Ranger's coming back soon, which is going to probably bump Strom to the bullpen, I would think. So the bullpen's going to be better. The starting rotation is going to be better. The offense is going to be better. We got 3 pieces coming back here. So, it's not the start we imagined, but, last year we were 14-22 when Bryce went down, and we just took off. So, like Darick said, we're going to be fine. They're going to clean some things up. It's still really, really early in the baseball season, so we'll be fine. We haven't even played anybody in our division yet. Tonight's going to be the first time we play someone in our division. So, like I said, we're going to be fine. We're going to be right in the thick of things.
And Darick Hall, when is the soonest that we could hope to see you back in an active role with the Phillies?
Yeah, so basically the news that I received was that I might be swinging by 4 weeks. That doesn't mean in game. That just means like swinging a bat, getting back to form. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be, 8 weeks at least before I get in a rehab game.
Well, best of luck. It'll be great to have you back in an active role, and thanks for your tremendous contributions a year ago, and I know what you're going to be doing in the future. For Darick Hall and Mickey Morandini, I'm Dan Baker. Now, next week, we mentioned, we'll be at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. Tommy Green will be co-hosting with me, who won 16 games for the 1993 National League pennant winners. Once again, our thanks to Kevin Gray for his help with getting Darick as our guest. I'm Dan Baker. We'll see you next week, everybody.